A year ago, right about this time, we began reporting on vandalism at the Tesla dealership in Loveland.
2 suspects in 2 separate cases were arrested, with the U.S. Attorney General characterizing these attacks as domestic terrorism. But there appears to be a difference between the rhetoric and how the cases are being handled. Here's investigative reporter Jeremy Hohola with an update.
From graffiti to firebombs, the attacks on the Loveland Tesla dealership made national news in early 2025. Security camera images show one of the suspects, identified by federal investigators as Lucy Grace Nelson. And then weeks later, investigators arrested Cooper Frederick for a separate vandalism incident at the same dealership. Both still have active state and federal felony charges.
If you take part in the wave of domestic terrorism against Tesla properties, we will find you, arrest you, and put you behind bars.
That domestic terrorism statement by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi last year put a spotlight on the Tesla attacks.
We've charged Cooper Frederick in the firebombing of a Tesla dealership that occurred on March 7th in Loveland, Colorado.
Over the last year, Cooper Frederick has been free on bond and allowed to live in Texas pending his federal case. Court records show he's been granted to travel to Colorado and Oklahoma for family events with no objection by federal prosecutors, whose boss had tough talk about Frederick last year.
There will be no negotiating. We are seeking 20 years in prison.
But still, that's a fairly extraordinary privilege to grant to somebody who's been accused of being a domestic terrorist. So.
We spoke to former U.S. Attorney Troy Ide, who was appointed by former President George W. Bush, about this case. He finds it notable Frederick has been granted travel in the wake of that domestic terrorist label.
He could just go out of state and go to a graduation ceremony after she said that he needed to be treated like a domestic terrorist. It's not consistent with what she said.
Months after Frederick was arrested, Tesla CEO Elon Musk and President Trump had a very public feud. Their close relationship has drastically changed.
So that makes me think something else might have changed. And perhaps what's changed is that Elon Musk is no longer viewed quite as favorably among some of the administration as he was just a year ago.
And at this point, there's no indication, at least in the court record, the Tesla attack suspects are close to a plea deal with prosecutors, but both are facing up to 20 years max in prison if convicted on their federal charges. Back to you.